This is Mick Foley.
Former WWE Superstar Horns over here.
This is Dave LaGreca from Bustin' Open.
I am WWF's longest reigning light heavyweight champion, Gilbert, and you are now
somewhere in the ring.
Somewhere in the ring.
Somewhere in the ring.
Somewhere in the ring. Have a nice day.
Guys, welcome to Somewhere in the Ring. I am one of your hosts, Ryan Sprague. Andrew Sanford is still on assignment out there somewhere in the world doing his thing. But I have a special co-host and special guest with me today. He is the co-host of the Ringsiders Wrestling podcast, YouTube channel, you name it. They are covering it over there. We have with us today, Callum MacInnes. Welcome to the show, buddy.
You said my name right. That's such a rare occasion. It might be that you live in Scotland.
I was sweating bullets over here. I'm still getting used to all the names over here. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you live in Scotland, so you have an advantage over most Americans. You've probably heard similar names before. I usually get Callum MacInnes, Machines. Well done.
Machines. I like that. Well, hey, I'll say this. I have Innocent Gun here, the brewery, so that does help. Kind of helps with your last name. Yeah, it was the first name I was worried about. I'm not going to lie. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's been a while since I've been a guest on a podcast, and I'm so excited to be a guest on Somewhere in the Ring. I've said to you previously when you came on Ringsiders, big fan of what you do, Ryan. So it's good to be here.
Oh, thanks, man. I'm a big fan of what you guys are doing as well. And it is a funny story how we connected. It was actually through UFOs. So why don't we start there? How you and I kind of got connected and found out we had strikingly similar interests. But I'll let you take it from there. Give us the origin story of how you and I kind of digitally met.
So I remember saying to Jamie, I was like, we've got to get this guy on, and I need to find a way to get this guy on Ringsiders. And I'd known you more for your Somewhere in the Skies podcast and the UFO stuff, and big fan of the podcast, your live streams. And then I found that you do Somewhere in the Ring, and I thought, got it. I know we can get this guy on now. I'll bring him on for a wrestling podcast and speak to him about aliens for an hour and wrestling for 10 minutes, which I think we did. And I said to Jamie, we've got to get this guy on. And Jamie said, I'm already following him, actually. So Jamie already followed you too, and he's a listener of Somewhere in the Skies too. So he was gutted that he couldn't speak to you the other day. But I said, don't worry, Jamie. You'll get the chance to speak to him at some point in the future. So I reached out. I know you get quite a few DMs probably and quite a few notifications. So I thought, let's give it a day. Didn't hear anything back. So then I put out a tweet saying, I'd love to speak to Ryan Sprague about wrestling and UFOs. And here we are. You replied straight away. And now I feel like I've known you my whole life. So
absolutely.
We're emailing back and forth, working on projects. And just absolutely great. And I've only really known you for about a week.
It's crazy. I know. We become fast friends. And yes, we will get to that project that you are working on that I am merely a fan of right now. But that's a conversation for later. I want to thank you for that. And Jamie will be on this show in the future. Absolutely. We'll get the three of us together. And then, it was so cool to go on your show and talk wrestling, because usually I talk UFOs. So this is going to be super refreshing today, man. I thought what I would do today with you is get to know you a little bit more in a wrestling sense. What got you into it? All of that. I've got some current news stories that I want to cover with you and get your thoughts on some of these.
Can't wait to hear the news stories, because there's so much happening in wrestling right now. It's hard to keep up.
It always is, man. It always is. Yeah. By the time we air this, these stories will probably be obsolete. Yeah. That's how the wrestling world works. UFOs too, actually. But and then I've got a top 3 that I have not told you what that top 3 is, but we're going to sort of play off of John Cena. That's the only hint I'm going to give you. John Cena is coming up on what will be his retirement match. The dates are counting down. I think he's got maybe 10, 11 left or something.
10 dates, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
getting close. We're
It's
getting
getting
close
there.
to zero, and oof, yeah, I'll definitely tell you more about my thoughts on John Cena's retirement tour when you bring that up, because
Interesting.
I've got a lot
Okay.
to say about that.
Got a lot of thoughts. Okay. Well, let's rewind.
Mhm.
Obvious first question. How did you get interested in wrestling? What are some of your first memories of wrestling? I always
Okay,
like to know what got you
yeah,
into it, what kept you into it as well.
great question. So, funnily enough, I spoke to the Big Boss Man's daughter yesterday, and yeah, Lacey Trailer, and
Okay.
we did an interview of her, and I actually got to tell her this story. My first memory of wrestling was turning on Sky One, and I saw the Big Boss Man on Sunday Night Heat. That was the first wrestler I ever laid eyes on at the age of
Wow.
9, I think it was. And I got to tell her, and she couldn't believe it. I said, "Yeah, first wrestler I ever saw. I didn't know Hulk Hogan or anybody, nobody. I turned it on by mistake, and I found the Big Boss Man." And for some reason, I just thought, this is cool. Like I think probably thought it was real. If I'm honest with you, I probably thought it was real at age 9. I kept watching it, and I was hooked. I can't put my finger on why I was hooked, but I was. I might not have been the biggest fan to start with. I was definitely interested, but it was Shawn Michaels that hooked me. He is
Ah,
my number one favorite wrestler of all time, and I was maybe about 11, I think it was. So I've been watching casually every now and then since I first saw the Big Boss Man. But it was Shawn
mhm,
Michaels that pulled me in. And it was his return in 2002. And the match with Triple H, SummerSlam 2002, Street Fight. That match,
right.
it's my favorite match to this day still. I still get goosebumps watching it. I think if you want to show someone who's not a fan of wrestling why wrestling's good, show them that match. It's got a great story, two great workers, a great finish where Shawn Michaels gets that jackknife pin, 1, 2, 3, beats Triple H, and then Triple H beats him down with the sledgehammer afterwards because he's such a sore loser. And 11-year-old me fell in love at that point. Fell in love. And then Shawn Michaels went on to win the World Heavyweight Championship in the Elimination Chamber in
Yep.
November later that year. And oh man, to this day, that's still my favorite year of wrestling. And that's what
Wow.
got me into it. Shawn Michaels. Well, Big Boss Man initially. Maybe if there was another job guy on who wasn't as interesting, maybe I'd have changed the channel and I wouldn't even be sat here right
Right.
now.
If it was
So
the what was it? The they had a plumber, they had a
yeah,
dentist. I mean,
it
you
was a
name it,
weird
man.
time where they had
Weird
lots
time
of
for wrestling.
working man gimmicks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for
Very
some reason,
strange.
very blue collar gimmicks. I don't know why. I don't know why you'd need to be a rubbish man if you were employed as a pro wrestler.
Right?
But
Yeah, why can't we have like a Harvard physicist be in the
yeah,
ring? You know,
yeah.
I
Why did it
hey,
always have to be a plumber? No one was going to get behind a plumber being the world heavyweight champion.
a plumber, right? And yet a plumber has become one of the biggest video games in the existence of video games, right?
You've got a point there.
There's some sort of connection there. Wow, man. I can honestly say I didn't think the Big Boss Man was going to be the gateway for
Yep.
you into
That's
wrestling.
it.
That's
My first
fascinating.
memory of wrestling. I didn't even
Love it.
know Hulk Hogan existed. It was the Big Boss Man. And I saw him
Okay.
with his nightsticks and I thought, this guy's cool.
That's
And I
cool.
actually said to Lacey Trailer yesterday, your dad's one of the best big men in wrestling. And I think we can all agree when you think of the top 3 big men, you've got Kane, The Undertaker. And for me, it's the Big Boss Man. When you watch how he moved in the ring, he moved like a cruiserweight for someone
Yeah.
his size. He was 6'7", and he was
Oh my
doing
God.
flips and cartwheels around the ring. The way he moved with such speed, I I think it's incredible. And also, I learned as well they actually show Big Boss Man videos in NXT to the students at the Performance Center, and people like Bron Breakker, the other big guys, current big guys, they study the Big Boss Man to learn how to wrestle that big man style. That's what Lacey was saying
Wow.
yesterday. So yeah, that's how I got into it. Big Boss Man.
That's so cool. Wow, to be the example for the next
Yeah,
generation of
right.
WWE superstars. That's incredible, man. Now, I gotta ask, that's WWE. Did you ever watch WCW or was that before your time?
I caught the tail end of WCW. So
Okay.
in between 2000 and just before 2002, when I was like in and out of watching it, I did catch a bit of WCW. I even have some WCW trading cards that I bought in that time.
Nice.
And, I must have had some interest to buy them. So it was like few and far between. But in my later years afterwards, I've caught up on pretty much the entirety of wrestling history. I've
Yeah.
watched as much as I possibly can. It wasn't WCW that I watched as well as WWE. It was the American independents that I got into very, very, very early on. So I watched TNA from the start when it was NWA TNA, and that had a lot of the ex WCW stars in it. So
Mhm.
when WCW folded, WWE took most of the top stars, and then the rest of them went to NWA TNA, and that's what I watched as well as WWE. So I missed out on most of the WCW, but I was just in time for the birth of TNA.
Wow. And then look at where we are today. Like TNA has come full circle. They're now working directly with
Oh,
WWE.
so
Ah,
that's weird, right?
it's insane, man. I never thought I would see Triple A. I mean, and we're going to talk about Triple A because I know you watched it. I didn't
Yeah.
get a chance to catch it, so I'd love to get your thoughts on that. But yeah, that's interesting. I was watching during the Monday Night Wars. That was definitely my
Mhm.
prime watching time for wrestling. And then I dropped out, man, for like, God, 15, 20 years maybe. And
Wow.
until they started putting it all back on television in the United States on the Peacock network, as they call it. That's when I got back into it. That's when I started feeling like a kid again and going back. And I literally started Raw and SmackDown from the first episodes and watched all the way through every
So you caught up.
POV. I caught up completely. And now WCW is fully on YouTube on the WWE. They have their own channel now too. So
That's so
dude, we
cool.
are living in the golden age of
We're so
nostalgia
spoiled,
and
aren't we?
we really are. We really
We,
are.
we take it for granted. We didn't have any of this when we were fans. We're around a similar age, Ryan. When we
Yeah.
were kids, I'd say kids, like, teens, we could have only dreamed of having wrestling this on demand. Well, all we really had was very small clips of wrestling, or you'd have to
Yep.
download it, and it would take a week to download. And now we can just go, oh, I want to watch this match, blah blah blah, and then you can watch it fully.
It's
We're so
crazy.
spoiled.
I know. And somewhere, I'll tell you this, man, somewhere there is a VHS tape of me and my high school friends backyard wrestling in full Undertaker, Stone Cold costumes, the music, the entrances. I hit my head on a steel beam at one point and drew blood. If I can
I
ever
will
find
pay
that tape,
money to see that.
I was just gonna say you'll be the first. You'll be the first to see it, and then we'll put it on Patreon. But again, that's me. So let's fast forward a little bit. Tell us a little about how you and Jamie connected and how Ringsiders Wrestling came to be.
Yeah, so no surprise, me and Jamie got to know each other through wrestling. And Hull is a very small city in terms of population. So everybody knows each other, which means all the wrestling fans know each other too. If you
Okay.
know if you know about wrestling in the city, you know everybody who knows about it. So I used to do wrestling training. And I'll give you a quick synopsis of what
Yeah.
I actually did. I used to do wrestling training when I was 16 to 21, and I actually had about 100 matches in that time. So I used to do
Wow.
wrestling, and I actually promoted a couple of shows as well, and very hard. And I also wasn't very good at wrestling, which is why I quit. I focused on university and thought that's not for me. But some of my friends went on to do really good. I mean, my friend Nathan Cruz, he's from just around the corner from me, and he's gone on to wrestle a few matches for WWE. And currently, I think he's just got back off a tour in America. So he's done amazing. I didn't do too good. So I ended up getting to know like the fans who came to the shows, and I'd still go see my friends. And Jamie was one of those fans. So I connected with Jamie, and I was like, "Oh, you like wrestling? I like wrestling." We went out for a couple of pints together. After a couple of pints, we drunkenly decided to do a wrestling podcast. And as you do, because when you're a man and you get drunk, you always end up doing a podcast. That's just how it
Yeah,
works.
that's how ours was birthed as well. We
There
went to a
you go.
Monday Night Raw in Central New York, had a couple beers, and then somehow a podcast was born. Yep.
It's the most white man thing to do after
Cliche
having
thing.
It really is. Let's start a podcast.
Yep. My girlfriend always makes that joke of my boyfriend's podcast, that cliche. So, but hey, man, it's cliches, there's nothing wrong with it. They're comforting. And hey, look, you guys are killing it over there interviewing indie wrestlers. You had
Yeah.
Danhausen on at one point, which I want to
Oh,
talk to you about because that's
that
one
was
of our
my
news
highlight.
items.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
I
mean,
love that
hey,
guy.
it's awesome. It's awesome. Say what you want about us white boys doing wrestling podcasts, but I love it. I love it. And I'm having the time of my life, as I'm sure you
It's
guys are.
so
But yeah,
good.
please
I
continue.
think I mentioned to you before, it's not about the views. It's not about
Nope.
actually having a metric of success in doing this. I could get 2 views and I'd still be happy. And those 2 views would probably still be me refreshing it. But what I really enjoyed about this is I get to speak to people about something I'm passionate about, with people who are in the business and also passionate about what I'm passionate about. And I love that. Like, even now, speaking to you, Ryan, I've been looking forward to doing this all day. Just to speak to you about wrestling. And if people watch it, great. If they don't, I still had a good conversation with somebody. And I think our most viewed interview wasn't with a wrestler. So it was with Lars Frederiksen from Rancid. And that did a few thousand views, but mainly because Rancid has a massive fan base.
Right.
And we had some awful comments on that video, but it was still fun. And I think our second most viewed interview was Danhausen. And you mentioned Danhausen before, and what a guy. I mean,
Yeah.
we messaged Ring of Honor and said, hey, can we interview Danhausen? And they said, yeah, sure. You've got half an hour. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, you got yeah. Counting it to the minute. They do that.
They did. They counted it to the minute. I won't break kayfabe too much. However, Danhausen, if you've seen Danhausen, you know what his character's like.
Yeah.
You know he's Danhausen. How do you explain it? When he came onto the call, he wasn't Danhausen. He was Donovan. He was just talking like we are now. And it threw me off because I was like, oh, God, I want him to be in character. I don't want to know what he's really like outside of character. Lovely guy. Absolutely lovely. As soon as we pressed record, he became Danhausen. Instantly,
Wow.
He was Danhausen. And we had a 30-minute interview. And as soon as I stopped recording, back to Donovan. And he was like, was that okay for you guys? Anything else you need? And I was like, nope. So we wrapped that up quickly because I was like, the less I see of him outside of character, the better. I don't want to break the illusion. I'm a massive mark. So yeah, we got to speak to Danhausen. That's probably my favorite interview, just because I was so nervous. So nervous. I don't usually get nervous for interviews now, but I was for Danhausen. And that was our bucket list moment. Well, if we didn't get drunk at the pub and start this podcast, never have got to speak to Danhausen.
Right.
So, and we wasn't, that's another thing. We wasn't always called Ringsiders Wrestling. If we go back, there was actually a third host of Ringsiders, and we was called Wrestle Thoughts Podcast. And it was the worst name. The worst name. Jamie came up with that when drunk. He said, why don't we call ourselves Wrestle Thoughts? And I was like, all right, okay.
Let's do it.
And before that, we were One Fall Podcast. So we've had 3 names in between, and we've been Ringsiders for about 5 years out of the 8 years we've been around. So we've stuck with Ringsiders, had a few sabbaticals in between, but we've always come back. We're like a cockroach. You can't kill Ringsiders. We're like TNA. You can try and kill Ringsiders. We'll always come back. We'll rebrand, but we'll always be around.
Hey, dude, that's wrestling. And that's hilarious. I never thought of TNA as the cockroach of wrestling, but it really is.
A lot of people have tried to kill TNA. It just comes back stronger.
As it should. It should. I love that. What a cool story. Okay. So I guess from there, we talk offline a lot about wrestling and stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
But I do really value your thoughts on this stuff, man. You're very knowledgeable with it. So I'd love to get your thoughts on these news and rumors that have kind of been at the forefront. Cool. Mm-hmm. You ready for the news segment? Okay. This one caught my attention because you brought this up on your show. I was interviewed by this gentleman. Funny enough, not about wrestling, but about UFOs, and that is the one and only Chris Jericho.
Okay,
He
yes.
was in the news this past week for interesting reasons. So, a recent Instagram post, including info on Chris Jericho's current contract with AEW, it's
Mhm.
almost up. And people are questioning, could he possibly return to WWE? And, one of these wrestling news sites put out an Instagram post asking that question. And who liked the post? Chris Jericho. People notice that dude. And the minute something like that happens, the wrestling community goes ape shit.
Yeah.
So the question is, could you see Jericho returning to finish his wrestling career in the WWE? Would you want to see that as well?
Again, good question, and I'll put it in two parts. Can I see it happening? 100,000,000%. Chris Jericho will go wherever the money is. That's as simple as that. Chris
Yep.
Jericho follows the money. He's a smart businessman. He saw an opportunity with AEW, very good money. But this AEW now is not the AEW he signed up with 7 years ago. I think 7 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was getting a big money offer then. The landscape's changed. There's bigger names than Chris Jericho now. He might not get as much money in current AEW. WWE might pay him good money for a nostalgia run, and I can see that happening. Do I want him to come back? No. To put it bluntly, I'd be happy for him to come to WWE in a managerial role or an authority role.
Yeah.
I have no interest in seeing 55-year-old Chris Jericho wrestle anymore. I agree he should have a retirement run, but a very brief one. We don't need a year-long retirement run like John Cena. Let's just get it wrapped up and put him into a position that he can be valuable and make some money. Can I see it happening? Yes. Do I want to see it? Not in the ring, but sure, if it's outside of the ring, I'm fine with that. What do you think, Ryan? Do you have similar thoughts, or are you thinking a little different?
No, I'm with you, man. Like, Chris is an awesome guy. Like I said, I've spoken to him several times at this point. But he is a businessman. Like we
Yeah.
had some off camera conversations about things I was working on at the time and things and he was literally giving me like business advice. It was so cool. I'm
Amazing.
like, oh my god, is this like I like shit myself, dude. I'm like, is this
Yeah.
really happening right now? But yes, he is a businessman. I do think, for his own safety and health, um, take a managerial position if it's offered. He
Yeah.
knows his limits, or at least you hope he knows his limits. Most wrestlers that get up to his age do not, and that's
Yeah.
when big
He's a
problems
smart
happen.
man.
He
I'd
is.
imagine he does. Yeah. I imagine he knows he's at the twilight of his career now.
Yeah. Well, not to mention he's the frontman of a highly successful rock band. He doesn't need wrestling. He's an actor now. He's in the Terrifier movies. He's doing
Yeah.
projects left and right. He's got different business ventures. Like the dude doesn't need to get in the ring and risk his life anymore. It's as simple as that. I could see under a Legends contract with WWE him doing something, whether it's like something like The Undertaker, like just pop up every now and again, or
Yeah.
do something like that LFG show, or I don't know, a
Oh,
managerial
I could see
position would be
him
good.
leading a stable like Paul Heyman currently is with
Yes.
the Vision.
Yes.
I think he's got so much to offer where he doesn't have to be in the ring to provide value. You could have Chris Jericho leading a stable of young wrestlers. I'd
Mhm.
love to see that. It's not that I don't like Chris Jericho. It's that I feel sad when I see him in the ring trying to still go at the same speed that the young Chris Jericho did. And he can still wrestle, don't get me wrong. For a 55-year-old, he's phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
But I do worry about wrestlers as they get older and think just call it a day, while you still can, and find another way to add value. And I think he's got so much left to offer. He could do this until he's 60, be an authority figure, be a manager, just pivot and find something else.
Mm-hmm. I have no doubt, man. I have no doubt. He's smart. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and
And
I just want to say, I think it's so cool that you spoke to Jericho. You know, when I was doing my research and stuff, I was thinking, I must have listened to that episode because I used to listen to Talk is Jericho all the time, especially when there was people on about something a bit weird or a conspiracy. I'd tune into them. So I must have heard that episode, but I'm going to go back and listen to it again just in case I haven't. But
it
wow,
was a
what a
blast.
claim to fame, man. You were on Talk is Jericho.
I was on cloud nine, dude. And like, hey, I'll always go on there whenever there's UFO stuff. They give me a call, and I'm like, heck yeah, are you kidding me?
You're the UFO guy for Chris
Yeah,
Jericho.
I'm the UFO guy for Chris Jericho. Everyone needs it, right? It's kind of like a hype man. You need your UFO man too. So always happy to take the call. Hopefully it'll happen again in the future. But for now, I'm just wishing him the best. I hope you know, maybe he will resign with AEW. Maybe he'll retire full time, or maybe he'll go over to WWE. The possibilities are endless for Chris Jericho, and that's the beauty of Chris Jericho. So I love it, man. I love it. Okay. We talked about him a little bit. Your interview with him, Danhausen. Now,
Yes.
he actually was a little bit in the news this week as well. He put out a video on his social media that featured none other than CM Punk. They were in a hotel room together, and Danhausen had given him a special gift of a t-shirt, which was hilarious. I highly suggest everyone go watch. But everyone was like, what is going on here? Danhausen, CM Punk? We didn't think that was even possible.
Allowed.
They're
Yeah.
currently signed with two different companies. And the thing is, Danhausen's contract was supposed to be up this July, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
He hasn't been used on television since he got back from an injury.
Once in
what
2 years, I believe. I think he was used at Final Battle, and I
Oh,
think
you're
he's
right.
been used
Yes.
once in 2 years.
Oh my God, man. Once in
Yeah.
2 years. I mean, that's almost worse, to be
Yeah.
honest. But so the big thing is, like, his contract was supposed to be up in July. He's made no, inklings that he wants to stay with AEW. But what ended up happening in it is they took those 6 to 7 months of like his injury and added it onto his contract. So now he has to stay for like another
I
6 to 7
hate that about
I
any
hate that,
contract.
man. So dumb. So dumb. And rumors were like maybe he's gonna hop over to WWE. I could see it. I think
I
he'd
could
be
see
a
it.
fantastic character over there. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's my question for you. We see this video with CM Punk. Is there something going on there? Is this a power move by Danhausen? Is he trying to prophesize his future and make it happen?
I
Like,
think
what do you
so.
think's going on here?
Yeah, if I had to guess, I know that Danhausen's very good friends with CM Punk, and if I had to guess, he knows his contract's up at some point. He's probably trying to test the waters, like with WWE. And I think it would be as simple as if CM Punk says, "Hey, Danhausen's a really good worker, got a great character, he'd fit right in with NXT." I think WWE would sign him in a heartbeat. Can you, right? What's one thing what does WWE love? Money. How do you make money? Merchandise. What does Danhausen sell a lot of? Merchandise.
Oh yeah.
That's his clip. They don't need to see him in the ring. They don't need to know if he's a good worker. They just want the money. And if you look at AAA, for example, they've just signed a handful of guys and girls to merchandise contracts like Microman and La Hydra. They're not signing them to talent contracts. They've sold them a contract for merchandising reasons. So, they can basically use their likeness for merchandise now. It's not for a talent or in ring contract. It's just for merchandise. They could do the same with Danhausen. Maybe he doesn't even need to have a match if he comes to WWE. It could be like a mascot for NXT, or just show his face every now and then and care somebody. Simple as that. And they could just say, "Here's a new Danhausen t-shirt. Guarantee it sells out instantly." And he makes a lot of money.
I'd buy it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I can just totally see that happening. I think if he wants to go to WWE, I think they'd be more than willing to listen and take the call. and discuss how to merchandise Danhausen. The good thing is for Danhausen is he owns the copyright and the trademark for his face. So if WWE wants to use it, they'll have to license it from him, meaning he keeps control of it and he'll get a good portion of money as well. And I just want to see Danhausen make a lot of money. So
Me too,
yeah,
man.
I can see it happening. I can see it happening, but it would, from WWE side, more for the money.
Yep, absolutely. I want to see Danhausen off of Cameo and on to WWE. That's for
100%.
sure. That's
Can you
for sure.
imagine him in NXT? How good
Ah.
would that be? It'd be so fun. Or him and R-Truth doing a comedy segment together.
Oh my God, man. Yeah. Since we might be getting a little comedic R-Truth back,
Yeah.
I could see that. I could see Danhausen, like you said, like even being almost like a Jackie Redmond, like backstage doing really super weird interviews with wrestlers, or I don't know, man. Just cut away to him. You put Danhausen in front of a camera, he's gonna give you gold. He spins gold
Yeah.
every time the
Every
camera's on
time.
him, and it has nothing to do with his wrestling abilities, which is
Absolutely. Like, I hate to say this. I
crazy.
love Danhausen, but can you name me one Danhausen match that you sticks out in your mind? You know, you
Mm,
can, right? But if I said, tell me 10 Danhausen moments that made you laugh, you can give me at least 10, right?
yeah.
He's just such a good character wrestler. Saying that, there's a great match with Psycho Mike that if you haven't checked out, just for your listeners, check out his match with Psycho Mike on YouTube. I'll say no more. That is a fantastic Danhausen match. But for us to name another one, I would struggle. But like I said, it's not about the in-ring stuff with Danhausen. It's about how he connects with the fans and how he can make you laugh. And, he's just so good. But yeah, great new rumor there. I completely forgot about that. I read about it this morning, completely forgot. And I'm glad you brought it back up because that's going to be one to watch, I think. Danhausen in WWE.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, something big happened on Monday Night Raw this past week as we're recording this Tuesday, August 19th. I wanted to make sure we saved this episode for Tuesday just in case something did happen on Raw last night. And
Yeah.
it sure as hell did. We had Naomi, our current women's world champion, make a very special announcement. And
Mhm.
it was also announced on the Stephanie McMahon podcast that recently started up. And that is that Naomi will be, unfortunately, relinquishing her championship, but for a very, very good reason.
Mhm.
She is having a baby. We are getting a little caution, baby. What do you
The
think, man?
bloodline continues.
The bloodline continues. I love that line. What a promo she gave. Probably one of her best ever. So,
Definitely.
what are your thoughts on Naomi since this new Proceed with Caution character has come about? She had one of the most stunning cash-ins of her Money in the Bank that I can remember in recent history, and she's been killing it as the champ. And
Mhm.
then this happens for a very good reason, but I'm sure there's some struggle, inner turmoil going on right now for her.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. I think it's probably the most bittersweet situation you can imagine, where it's
Yeah.
like, she's pregnant. Congratulations. That's amazing. I think I remember hearing an interview of her last year where she was saying about wanting to get pregnant at some point soon. I don't think she imagined it this soon, but either way, I'm so happy for her and for Jimmy. But yeah, it comes at a time where she's also doing the best work she's ever done in her career. And I think right now, I might be people disagree, but I think she's the best women's wrestler in the world. I really do. And I say that as like factoring in gimmick, look, character, mic work, in ring. I think she's the total package because she's really improved in the ring. She's very competent, but she's
Yes.
also got a great gimmick. I love this proceed with caution thing, and the character that she's got, where she's like manically laughing at everybody, riding around on the little suitcase scooter. She's absolutely amazing, and I'm so gutted that we won't get to see her for over a year, but so happy for her at the same time. It's so bittersweet, but I'm happy that she said, "Keep my title warm because I will be back, and I am going to take it." So I've got every faith that when she comes back, she'll be able to pick up where she left off. Do
Yeah.
you think that she's going to come back and pick up, or do you Do you think that like people might take her spot in that meantime? What do you see
Well,
happening?
it's hard, I think back in the sort of Vince McMahon days, first of all, a wrestler would never make it public that they're pregnant on national television. I feel
No.
like they would find some way to write them off an injury or whatnot. It just wasn't something the old guard did. Now with Triple H, like the lines are so blurred that, I see it being a conversation between he and Naomi. Like, no, let's bring this into it. People are gonna know you're pregnant. Like, let's do it. Like, which I think is awesome.
Mhm.
What I love about, and I think you're right. I think total package. When you said best wrestler, I'm like, Io Sky. But then you mentioned the promos, the
Yeah.
character work, everything that comes with being an actual superstar. And you're right. Naomi has everything. She
Everything.
deserves everything that the
Yeah.
WWE has to offer. And she got it. And then this happens. And again, this isn't a bad thing by
It's
any
not.
stretch. It's
No.
not. It's incredible, especially since it's something she wanted, her and Jimmy wanted for so long. You know, it'll be hard, I'm sure, for her to kind of see what goes on in that year she's gone. But I think these are the opportunities that WWE has to make new stories. Look
Yeah.
at what happened with when CM Punk got injured or Seth Rollins got injured. These bring about new stories. Yeah, the writers have to pivot, creative team has to pivot, but like, dude, it's live TV. That stuff
Yeah.
happens all the time. And this was an unforeseen thing. They're proceeding with caution, as it were. And
Nice.
I had to. Um, and I think it's awesome. This is my long-winded way of saying during her promo, she broke character a couple times because she was, I think,
Mhm.
genuinely touched by the audience's reaction. And then seeing herself, saying, I'm pregnant, I'm sure it was like
Yeah.
a big deal. You could tell Trinity was getting very emotional.
Definitely. Yeah.
But then,
It
dude,
was touching to see.
boom, she
Yeah.
turns into Naomi in a heartbeat and says, "Get out of the ring," to Adam
Adam
Pearce. She's
Pearce.
like,
Yeah.
it's incredible. She's like, "I
Love
don't
it.
need your congratulations. I don't need your thank yous. This is my time." Oh my god, dude! Like you could
This is
see
what
her
I mean.
weaving in
I
and out
think
of the character.
if it was any other wrestler who had to take some time off, they always find it hard to like say, I'm gonna have to take some time off, and the fans, they give them the support, and it's because they're sympathizing with them. It's hard for them to then turn back on the fans and say like, "Oh, I don't need your support." Naomi didn't think about it twice; she just did it, and I thought that's brilliant. Even in this situation, she's still Naomi. She's still saying, "Don't need your support. I'll be back. I'm going to take the championship." Love that. I
Yep.
absolutely love that. And like I said, I really do hope when she comes back, she does get the championship again and just carries on from where she left off. In the meantime, I'd like to see Io Sky stay in the main event scene for the Raw Women's Championship. I think she's incredible. Like you said, Io Sky might be the best in ring in WWE for sure. And that's including the men. I think Io is amazing. So let's keep her in the main event scene. What do you think about Rhea, real quickly? Like, do you think Rhea should stay in the main event, or do you think she should maybe go back down to like the IC championship for a bit, keep it fresh for her?
I like that idea. I think Rhea's sort of been, I don't want to use the word floundering. She's not floundering. She's one of the hottest people in the business right now.
Mhm.
Floating. She's kind of just floating by right now. And they are kind of playing with that with her character. Like every time she gets obsessed with beating Io Sky, something goes wrong and she loses
Mhm.
her chance at those titles again. I love the friendship and the friendly rivalry between
Mhm.
Io Sky and Rhea. I could watch them wrestle each other a million times and
They're
never
wrestling
ever get sick.
soulmates, definitely.
Oh my god, dude. Wrestling soulmates is the perfect definition. So I would love to see Rhea go after a different championship. I don't think she needs to elevate herself to the world championship. She's been there. We've
Yeah.
seen it. Like she can carry it. We know she can. Let's give someone else the opportunity. Unfortunately, Naomi had her opportunity. It's going to go away. But I don't forget about her. Nobody
Mhm.
forget about Naomi because I do believe she's going to come back and get it. I
Maybe a
honestly
big
do.
Rumble return at some point.
Yes.
There could be a Rumble return. It could
Yep.
be a Money in the Bank return as a surprise entrant. There's so many opportunities for him down the line to bring
Absolutely.
Naomi back. That's the thing about being injured or having to take time off is it always makes for a good return down the line.
Yep.
So hopefully they'll capitalize on that.
hmm Going away is not always a bad thing. That's for
Exactly.
sure. That's for sure. Um, awesome, man. Well, those are kind of our news rumor stories
A
for
good
this
selection of
episode.
rumors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not bad, right? Not bad. But next I want to cover just kind of your highlights from
Okay.
TripleMania that came to us this past weekend. Now, for some of our viewers or listeners who don't know, WWE recently acquired AAA, which is a Mexican wrestling brand. And they recently had a show in Mexico City. And this was kind of the first WWE AAA hybrid
That's right. Yeah.
PLE, as it were. So, what did you think of the event and what match or matches really stood out to you?
So I love the presentation of this event. I've watched TripleMania before and thought it was a bit of a hard watch. So
Okay.
going back a few years, I the production's not always been there with TripleMania. The match quality has not always been consistent. And people there was a point in history where people watched TripleMania mainly for the botches, if I'm honest.
Oof.
So it's not always been this good, right?
Okay.
And that's not to say that they're not good in their own right, because they are. There's some fantastic talent there. And you'd always have one or two really good matches on the card. But the presentation with WWE's assistance is next level. I think WWE has the best production in the world right now. And with WWE helping them out, and kind of stripping off some of the matches that they don't really need. Like it was another one of those where TripleMania would have like 12 matches and it's just too many. So I think they said, let's cut some matches, let's focus on a good product, get some stories in there. And I think it really worked. It was like a hybrid between TripleMania and a WWE PLE. And I
Yeah.
think it really worked. And I think a lot of people were expecting it to bomb. But I think so far, as of yesterday, it had 4 million streams on YouTube,
Wow.
which that's a success if you ask me. How are we gauging success? Because I think that's a success, and
Yeah.
I think all the matches were individually very good. There was definitely some highlights and some maybe not so great things, but I came out of it thinking this was really good. Like the
Hmm.
Los Garzas match. The tag team match. What's Psycho Clown and what's the other one's name?
I have it here. Give me 1 sec. I can find it for you. Dragon, or sorry. Oh, here we go. Pagano and Psycho Clown, Angel Garza and Berto. There we
That's
go.
yeah. I thought that was a great match. For a start, I love Los Garza. I think
They're
they're
awesome. Yeah.
criminally underrated. They should be WWE tag team champions. Multiple times. They've got such a good look. They're annoyingly handsome. They've
Yeah.
got like 12-pack and everything, and
Granite,
somehow they're
man,
not tag
for
team
sure.
champions.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was a great match. A really good lucha match. Because they can both work the lucha style. It was an example of like what WWE can offer the luchadors, because I think a lot of people are thinking like WWE's taking a lot from AAA, what they're really offering. But I think this PLE showed what WWE can offer in terms of production and also giving back some of their talent who can work that lucha style.
Mhm.
And this was a really good example of that. So I'd be keen to see more of this style of match down the line. And I love Psycho Clown. Again, I didn't know who this guy was before the last pay-per-view. Was it Worlds Collide? I think it
Yes.
was
Yep.
Worlds Collide. The last one they did with AAA, and where he like pulls off his mask and it's got like that red mask underneath. I just thought that's such a cool visual.
Yeah.
I want to see more of that guy. I think the relationship's off to a really good start. What did you think of the whole production side of things? Did you think it looked good?
Yeah, so I was able to catch some clips. I didn't see any of the full matches, but I saw like the final moments of their battle, or their Royal Rumble, excuse me, which was called the Copa Barda, and Omos was in that, and uh, um, I want to say it was good, but I do teeter on that. Have we really regressed back to the
Yes, we
giant
have.
and the
Yes,
little
we have.
person thing being a comedy? And we did. We saw,
We
what
have.
was his name?
Microman.
Microman. Yeah. Guys,
Yes.
if you don't know who Microman is, take a wild guess why his name is that. And then you've got Omos, who is literally a giant. And
He's a
yeah,
legitimate 4 foot taller than Microman.
yeah, a
He's
whole
7 foot
Microman.
3.
It's crazy. Yep. So, they had a fun moment between those two, which, they both knew exactly what was happening. And I thought it was interesting to say the least, but almost ended up winning from what I recall, the Royal Rumble there.
Yeah, it was.
Um, what was the other thing that I saw that really oh, this is what really stuck out to me, man. It was the Finn Balor, JD McDonough, Raquel Rodriguez versus Lola Vice, Mr. Iguana, and
Mhm.
Nino Hamburguesa, I think. I hope I'm saying that right.
I'm glad you tried to pronounce that because I was going to try. I'm not even going to bother.
6 years of Spanish and I still butcher it, man. Oh my gosh. But the moment I think that everyone's talking about was the moment where Finn Balor, you had Mr. Iguana with his puppet,
Yeah,
and then you had Finn Balor bust out his own puppet. Did you
Demonito.
see that? Yeah, Demonito.
Yes, Demonito. Yes.
Guess what's
I
already up in the WWE shop, by the way?
instantly this. What did I say earlier, Ryan?
Yep.
WWE loves money and merchandise. As soon as he did that with the Demonito, it probably sold out and made the millions.
Yep.
They know what they're
Chain,
doing. Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. If I wasn't a struggling ufologist slash wrestling podcast host, I would have bought that Demonito in a heartbeat. But it's like
Absolutely.
it's over $100
$100.
US. Yeah,
$100.
crazy, man.
I mean, even if I had money, I don't think I'd buy that for
Yeah,
$100. But
I,
some people will.
we'll see. We'll see. If it ever goes on sale, it might end up in the background here. We shall see. But kind of the big one I think everyone's talking about was the main event, which was
Mhm.
Vikingo versus Dragon Lee versus Dominic Mysterio versus Grande Americano. Uh who do you think was Grande Americano? And what did you think of this match?
Okay, so I thought this match was great. Um, I'll keep up kayfabe and say I have no idea who El Grande Americano is.
Same.
Could be Chad Gable, Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate. It could be Ludwig Kaiser. It could be Gunter, for all we know. Uh, but can I just say how much I love the El Grande Americano character?
Amazing.
I think it's genius, really. Like the what I love is the lucha fans, the Mexican fans have really embraced El Grande Americano, and they're actually in on the joke now as well. And a
Right.
lot of the Mexican fans are saying, oh, "I remember watching El Grande Americano 20 years ago with my dad at a show." They're they're really going all in on it, and like there's all this El Grande Americano lore now, and
Right.
yeah, I think that's so good. They're really buying into it, enjoying it like it's meant to be enjoyed. It's just a bit of fun.
Well,
But I
it's
also think it could
sorry,
be
I
a
was gonna say,
champion.
man. Yeah, I think you're right, and it's an idea. Like this is big in lucha as well. Like they
Mhm.
have a character, and throughout the generations, it's played by a different wrestler.
That's
So I
right.
love that they're kind of bringing it back to that, and it's
Yeah,
the idea of Grande Americano.
the
Anyone
idea.
can be
Yeah.
Superman. Anyone can be Batman. Anyone can be Grande Americano. And like you said, when this first started, I think everyone was like, "Ugh, this is so wrong and mean spirited." And now I feel like, Mexican uh, Mexican wrestlers and the country in general has embraced it and taken it back, and now it's
Yeah.
become like their thing. So I
If
love that.
Mexico's
Uh,
on board, I'm on board.
I'm on board, baby.
Yeah.
Yep, yep. I love
What
it.
did you think of the finish? So I was
Yeah.
keen to ask you. I'm not sure if you how knowledgeable you are on the Vikingo situation, but he's not very liked in Mexico.
That's what I've heard.
People
Yeah.
people don't like him because they prefer Alberto El Patron,
Okay.
and they feel like Vikingo is Roman Reigns from 2016 when he was getting forced down our throats. They
Yes.
don't like that. They want Alberto El Patron. And in America and the States, and even here in the UK, we're not really big fans of Patron. Alberto Del Rio in WWE.
Yeah.
But in Mexico, he's treated like Jesus. He's a big deal. What are your thoughts? Because personally, I love Viking. Though I think he's great. I think he's got good appeal. But
Yeah.
the Mexican fans don't really see it that way. What are your thoughts on Viking? Though?
Yeah, it's a mystery to me. He seems to have everything, but
Mm,
I think that could be the problem. He seems almost like a John Cena prototype, early John
mm.
Cena, where it's like it came out of a factory almost, and
Manufactured.
yeah, manufactured. And again, this is not taking away from anything he does in the ring or whatnot, but I think you're right. I think when it's forced upon an audience, they know, and that's the last thing any wrestling fan wants. You mentioned Roman Reigns. This is exactly what it reminds me of. So to see the match end the way it did, I think was a little disappointing for many because I think a lot of people saw this as the perfect opportunity to put Dominic Mysterio at the tippy top of the mountain where he almost is anyway.
Yeah.
But that would have just done it right there. So yeah, I was a little bummed. I was really pulling for Dom,
Did you
but
want Dom
what
to
did you
win?
think? Yo, absolutely,
Yeah,
100%.
same. I did too.
I again,
Yeah.
I wasn't able to watch the main event, and I thought I was gonna wake up to hear the news that Dom had become the champion. Like, I thought that was gonna be plastered all over the wrestling boards and all that, and it didn't happen. And you could hear in that stadium the boos when
Right.
Vikingo what
One.
it was weird. It was a weird way to end a very good night, in my personal opinion. What did you think?
I completely agree. I wanted Dominic Mysterio to win, definitely, because
Yeah.
I can you think of a more improved wrestler from their rookie year to when they debuted to now? Can you think of a more improved wrestler than Dominic Mysterio? I can't. I
Nope.
When he first debuted, I thought he was milk toast, no interest, boring. Even as the son of Rey Mysterio, I thought this guy's got some potential, but they're really going to have to try to make me like him. Now, fast forward, I'm eating my words every day, and he is incredible. He's got the character, he's got the look. He might even have the best look in wrestling right now, I think, with the mullet and the tash. He's got cool attires, he wears masks, all the girls like him. He's the coolest guy.
Luckiest man on earth. Let's be
He-
complete. Rhea
Whatever,
Ripley, Liv
yeah,
Morgan,
Liv Morgan,
his actual wife.
Roxanne Perez, and his actual wife. It's not fair. I mean, I don't think there's a more improved wrestler when it comes to all of the factors that make a good wrestler. He has all of it. Whatever aura it is, he's got it, and he's got excess aura. I'm showing my age now. I don't know what the words are. Ray's aura. He's got all of it. But
You
I think
got
he's
me.
going to be a world champion one day, multiple
Mhm.
time world champion. I do want to see him lean into the Eddie Guerrero stuff just a little bit more. Not the character side, but just the way he cheats. I want him to lean into it a bit more with like Eddie would lie, cheat, and steal.
Yep.
I want to see Dominic doing a bit of that because eventually Dom's going to have a massive face turn and he's going to be a white hot baby face, I reckon. And
Yep.
I reckon it's going to parallel just like Eddie Guerrero did as well, at the underdog face winning the world championship. And that's a call I'll make right now. I think he wins the world championship as a face. What do you
Okay.
reckon?
I like that. I like that. I'm not ready to make a prediction just yet because we are going to get a rematch between Vikingo and Dom. I saw on Monday Night Raw last night. I
Hmm.
think at Worlds Collide, maybe that's happening too.
Yeah.
Or it's happening at some event. So that'll be interesting. Maybe Dom will win that rematch. I don't know. I don't know.
Hmm.
But I
Fingers
do
crossed.
agree. I could see him. He has to. He has to be a champion at some
Has to
point.
be.
And gold looks good on him, man. I'm not gonna
It does.
again. He's not what you would envision as like a WWE superstar, yet he has something that very few wrestlers have, and that's just this magnetism. And
Yes.
he doesn't have to try. He's trying to be the guy you hate, but you
I can't hate him.
You can't hate
Like
him.
Eddie Guerrero, right?
Exactly.
Eddie Guerrero was a heel and everybody loved him. The more he cheated and lied and stole, the more people bought into it and loved him. And that's why
Still
I'm
think
saying
that's
you have
his
to be
real
real
dad.
careful.
I still
Yeah.
think that's his real dad.
It's like his dad.
Oh, crazy, man. Oh, well, yeah, TripleMania I think was overall a big success, and I can't wait to see what they do next. We are coming up on the hour here. How much
We
longer do you
are.
have, buddy?
Oh, however long you want to go.
Okay, cool. Because we got plenty more to talk about. We haven't even gotten to our top 3
I
that I
know.
promised you yet. Should we move on to that?
Oh, let's do it.
Okay. Okay, cool. Like I had mentioned, I did not tell you what this top 3 was going to be. But what I thought would be cool is, like we mentioned at the top, John Cena is going to be retiring. And a lot of the talk right now is who's going to be his final opponent in his last match. That's not my question for you. Not yet, at least.
Okay.
My question for you is, what are your top 3 favorite retirement matches of all
Oh, what
time?
an
I
amazing
am
question.
really putting you on the spot here. If you need some time
Okay,
to
but I
think,
think I've got
that's
2
what
straight away.
oh my god, you're an expert. I love this. You are a pro. All right, let's hear it.
I think I've
What's
got
number
2.
3? Top
Okay.
3 retirement matches of all time. Let's go.
Let's go. So I can do it kind of in some kind of weird order. So we've got Ric Flair versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 24
Ah,
in Orlando. Yeah. Um, that match I thought was good. It for Rick's last match in WWE, he really looked good. I mean, it wasn't the Rick that we all knew and loved from back in his heyday, but it was a good final showing for Rick in WWE. And what a perfect opponent to do it. Shawn Michaels, like I said, my favorite wrestler. And with that iconic moment at the end where he says, like, I'm sorry, I love you, and puts him down like old Yeller, takes him out
yeah.
back. And with a tear in
Still
his
gives me
eye,
chills, dude. That moment
right?
still gives me chills.
And as he covers Ric Flair, you see him say thank you. And just the emotion of that match, it has to be in my top 3 because I was never the biggest Ric Flair fan, never have been, but for the emotion that it made me feel and Ric Flair's final match and all the factors that went into it, and Shawn Michaels not wanting to pull the trigger to put down Ric Flair, and then he finally does. Yeah, got to be in my top 3, and I would put it at number 3 in my retirement matches. So, yeah, that would be number 3. Do you want me to go on to number 2?
Let's do it. Yes.
Okay. Number 2, speaking of Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. And
right.
Yeah, not only do I think this is one of the top retirement matches of all time, it also comes in at number 2 in my favorite matches of all time.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Street Fight number 1. Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker in his retirement match is my second favorite match ever. I mean, the fact that Shawn Michaels comes down from heaven as The Undertaker ascends from hell in his entrance, the storytelling and the parallels were amazing. It gives me chills thinking about it. But not only that, the reversals in the match, like he tries to skin the cat, and then as he skins the cat backwards over the ropes into the tombstone, and just putting the nail in the coffin where he knows he's got to put down Shawn Michaels, but again, he's maybe a bit hesitant to do it. And because he knows if he does, Shawn Michaels' career's over. Shawn Michaels slaps him in the face really hard. Undertaker picks him up, does that jump in tombstone, and puts him flat out. Amazing from a storytelling point of view.
Yeah.
But yeah, Shawn Michaels in 2 of my favorite retirement matches.
Wow.
that guy. They don't call him Mr. WrestleMania for no reason.
That's
That
true.
guy at WrestleMania, no one was better than Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
And I did want to cry a bit that day when Shawn retired. I'll be honest, but
Yeah.
did you see that? Did you see all of that trilogy? That the back to back Shawn? Yeah. What did you think of those matches?
Oh, again, from a storytelling perspective in the ring, this goes beyond like the arc of a program or whatnot. But in the ring, I have not seen storytelling like that. These are two professionals at their peak of their performance. In the ring, maybe not so much, but still really damn good. But it was the ring psychology. It was the way the match was built and the way it was laid out and the way they
Agreed.
reacted to the audience and infused that into their performances. Like we had said on your show, I'm a playwright. I focus more on the characters than the actual match itself or the technicality of a match. From a storytelling perspective, it was just perfect. It was a masterpiece. Both of those were. So I would have to agree with you in every respect, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that match. Love that match.
was
I'm gonna
awesome.
have to rewatch it again at some point. We should do a watch along at some point. Ringsiders and somewhere in the ring watch along for these kind of amazing matches. Number one, I mean, this is going to be really hard. But one of my favorite wrestlers again of all time, Sting. And this was not in WWE. This was in AEW at Revolution.
Yes.
And the only reason I'm going to put this as number one above Taker and Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels is I think it was actually executed perfectly. I know the others were fantastic, but the way that the respect that AEW showed Sting on his, this final run in AEW, considering he'd never wrestled in AEW before, they completely respected his history in WWE, in WCW, in TNA. They brought him in and had him mentor Darby Allin, a young up-and-coming wrestler. And in the final match, I just think that they really understood the assignment. Sting is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. I'd put him in my top 5 for sure. I just love how they handled it. And the match was great. I mean, Sting's how old? 60?
60, I want to say 65, 66. Yeah.
65 years old. And he was diving off the top rope through tables. He really went out on top. He was the Sting that we all knew and loved. Like I said, the Ric Flair match, it wasn't the Ric Flair that we all knew and loved. The Shawn Michaels match, great match, but I feel like it still wasn't peak Shawn Michaels. Whereas watching this Sting match, I felt like this was prime Sting. He didn't lose a beat. Did you get to see the AEW match with Sting's retirement?
I did. So that was early on in the beginnings of the Somewhere in the Ring podcast. And I was the one covering AEW stuff. Andrew's more a WWE guy through and through. I mean, he likes certain aspects of AEW, but I was the one who would actually follow week to week and especially the pay-per-views, which is what AEW does best. And dude, like you said, they knocked it out of the park with this one. They had Sting's sons come out in his past iterations, which was so
that was a great moment. I forgot about that completely. I mean, Sting's sons are so much like Sting. It could have been Sting. And I hope that they get into wrestling at some point because they look like $1 million, both of them, don't they? So let's get them in the Stingers, the tag team or something.
The Stingers,
brilliant.
I love that.
Whatever, let's do it.
I love it. So here's the thing with this match. I often don't like when someone's retiring and they go out winning. I think the classy move. I'm very old school. I think they should be, they should be looking up at the lights and put the person over. I think that's the way to go. However, this is where I make an exception. I thought this story they were telling, and it's Sting again. This guy is so iconic inside and outside of wrestling. He transcended the wrestling world in many ways. And to see him go out and win that match, I think he will, more than any of us, he will remember that for the rest of his life. And
Agreed.
really all that matters.
That's
For all
such a
the
good point,
years,
actually.
you
Yeah.
know, that he's given us, sacrificed time with his family, literally his body he gave to us for pure entertainment. Like, give him this chance, give him this win on the way out.
Yeah,
For
knowing
sure.
Sting, I reckon he'd have been happy to go out looking at the lights. But
Absolutely.
I think the Young Bucks would have had it no other way. I can imagine them saying, well, there's no chance we're winning. You have to win this match.
Yeah.
And I think Tony Khan would probably have agreed to. And, you know, Sting, he always seems so humble. From every interview I've ever seen with him, he's a businessman. He'll do what needs to be done.
Mhm.
But I reckon the Young Bucks were just like, no, we want to lose this match. So, yeah, I thought it was what a great match as well. Not even just like, you know, because it was Revolution's always a good pay-per-view. I think this was actually one of the better matches even on the whole pay-per-view. And for a retirement match, just brilliant. I think that's one of the best retirement runs I've seen in wrestling leading up to the retirement match. And even though I'm not a massive fan of current AEW, I do have certain things where I'm like, this could be better, that could be better. I cannot take away that they treat legends like legends. Like Dustin Rhodes, for example, Jake the Snake Roberts, DDP. Anytime they've brought in a legend, they've known exactly how to utilize them. And they did Sting's retirement tour, whatever, perfectly. So yeah, it stands out for me. Definitely number one.
Great choices, man. No,
You put me on the spot.
I did, and you killed it. You killed it. I mean, you knew exact dates, where it happened. Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, this is funny. I picked my 3 as well. However,
Okay, I'm keen to hear.
2 of them were yours. So
amazing.
Again, we're just like, we're in sync.
In
I had Darby Allin and Sting versus the Young Bucks as my number 2.
No way.
I had Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels as my number 3. And I actually have a different number 1. You ready for this one? WrestleMania 19, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock.
Okay, that is a great choice, Ryan. Brilliant
There you go.
choice.
I mean, there's not much to say. This was, Stone Cold kind of on his way out, and The Rock just hitting peak. I mean, he just took off, and this was the moment. Nobody, and here, that's the other thing. Nobody knew Stone Cold was done. No one knew how bad his injury was that he had. And he didn't tell like anyone. And this was before, a lot of the internet stuff, where this stuff would leak and whatnot. But this would end up being the match that Stone Cold would lose the championship. The Rock would become the champion and become The Rock as we know him today. Another moment where you can see The Rock whispering in Stone Cold's ear, "Thank you. Thank you for this. Thank you."
Because when we're saying about wrestling soulmates, The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, man.
Oh my God.
That was it for me. And then, that was basically Stone Cold's last match. And we know these guys always come back for one last match. Even Ric Flair did at one
is
point.
It canon,
Shawn Michaels. Yeah. Is it canon? Exactly.
It's not.
It's not. It's not. So that's my number 1, man. Stone Cold versus The
Great
Rock.
choices.
WrestleMania 19. Yeah. Yours as well. And obviously,
as if we picked 2 of the same ones as well with Sting. That's really cool.
Crazy stuff. I'm happy you didn't say Kurt Angle and
Baron Corbin. You know what's funny about that?
I might have had to hung up on you on that one.
They didn't even call it a retirement match. They called it a farewell match. Do you remember?
Oh God!
They said this is Kurt Angle's farewell match. I was like, no,
my poor man, my poor American broken necked wrestling champion.
And I love Baron Corbin. I think Tom Pestock is actually a great talent. Okay. However, that's so much pressure to put on Baron Corbin, ending Kurt Angle's career, because I don't think he was in a position to be, they didn't build up Baron Corbin enough to beat Kurt Angle, and then he beat him, and everyone hated Baron Corbin, not because he was a heel, but because they just thought, oh, you don't deserve that.
Yeah.
It's like, if anything, you've hurt Baron Corbin more by doing that. And I think even Kurt Angle agreed and Baron Corbin agreed that he shouldn't have won that match.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone agrees. Yeah.
Everyone
Yeah.
agrees, even Baron Corbin.
Yeah, dude. Well, I think you're right. I think it was the timing. The timing just wasn't right. Baron was put in a very, very rough spot there. And it just, sometimes it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And that's wrestling for you. That is professional wrestling. Awesome, man. Well, those were your top three and my top three retirement matches. But I've got one more question, two more questions
Okay.
before I go. I'm not letting you escape without talking UFOs for a little bit.
Okay, let's do it.
But John Cena, like we mentioned, retiring, maybe 10 events left, not even matches. We don't know how many of these will just be him cutting a promo. We don't know. We have no idea. And I like that. This has been a very unpredictable retirement run for John Cena. Very. Yeah. But my question for you, final opponent for John Cena. We could do some runners up, but who is your number one pick to be the final opponent for John Cena's retirement match?
Braun Breaker.
Love it.
Braun Breaker, definitely 100%. I've already thought
Why is
about
that?
this. So Braun Breaker is currently having a heel run with the Visionary. And at some point, he is going to break away from that. And when he does break away, I feel like he needs to either have an amazing face run or go on a heel run that he destroys everybody. It's going to go one way or the other. And I think it would just give him so much stock to be like it. John Cena is doing the greatest hits at the moment. He's wrestling Randy Orton. He's been wrestling everyone from his past. Yeah. The only person he hasn't really faced is the future of the business. He's wrestled Cody Rhodes, the present, the current champion, but he hasn't wrestled the future. He's wrestled his past and the current, but no one in the future. And I think that's for a reason. I think they're doing that on purpose. Saving it for a big rub for an up-and-coming talent. And I can see that being Braun Breaker. They are very high on Braun Breaker right now. And he's going to have an amazing 2026 for sure. What a better way to start 2026 than ending John Cena's, being his final opponent, putting John Cena on his back and beating John Cena, being the last person to pin him, going into the next year, because it will be, I think it's in December, his last match, starting 2026 as the guy who beat John Cena. I just think that would do him so much good. If it was somebody from his past that beats him in his final match, it's not going to mean anything. No one's going to take away from that. Even Cody Rhodes has beat him now. There's nothing else for him to gain from that. But Braun Breaker still has a lot to gain from beating John Cena in his last match. So that's my pick.
I love it. Again, I'm not just saying it to be, easy with this, but yeah, my pick would be Braun Breaker as well. I think I've actually said that twice on the show now. I think you're right. A lot of people are hoping The Rock, and again, I'm like, interesting, but like, what is there to gain from that?
Nothing.
That does not move the company forward in any way. I love this. I'm so glad they finally gave it a name, the Vision. Like that is what this is. You have the Oracle who foresees what is happening, and who's the one who's usually always right about the future of the WWE, and that is Paul Heyman. And this is awesome. You've got the current guy who's at the top, and that is Seth Rollins. You've got you've got oh my gosh, Braun Strowman, excuse me. No, not Braun Strowman.
Bronson Reed.
Bronson Reed, excuse me. Thank you.
There's too many Brons.
There's way too many of these guys. I know. Too many Brons. Bronson Reed, who's just a unstoppable force. Love the guy. And like you said, Braun Breaker is the future. I cannot take my eyes off the guy. His speed, his agility, his power. It's
and he's funny as well.
You want.
He
and
can
he's
do
funny. Dude, the Steiner math, that never gets old.
Brilliant.
The Steiner math never gets old.
Did you hear him last night on Raw when Paul Heyman said, the late, great Tommy Dreamer, I know he's not dead, but he should be.
But he should be.
And then he goes, he's still alive? I was like, oh, God. I love Braun Breaker. He when a wrestler is like a badass heel but can still do comedy, I'm on
Right?
board. Yeah, I
Age
love it.
shaming CM Punk last week or whatever it was. What are you, like 48?
40, 48
Something like
plus,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
37. That's 100. Yeah, so good.
Steiner math, baby. I'm telling you. You're right. He's got it all. He's got it all. And he is the future of the
He is.
company, whether people like it or not. But I think that would be a fantastic way to put this guy over. What do you think about Logan Paul getting a chance at John Cena? I know a lot of people are pissed about this, him going up against him at Clash in Paris. Like
Funny you
John
should say
Cena's
that.
already like teamed up with him.
Yeah.
Why does he get one of these final times with John Cena again?
So I'll give you a disclaimer before I answer this. I think Logan Paul the person is probably not great. However, Logan Paul the wrestler is one of the most naturally talented freaks in the business I've ever seen.
It's true.
I can't take that away from him. He's a natural heel. He respects the business from what I've seen and does what he's told, and he's very good at it. Even his peers in wrestling are saying he's one of the most naturally gifted wrestlers you'll see. And he looks like $1 million. If I could pick a number 2 of them Bron Breakker, it'd be Logan Paul. Because,
Wow.
yeah, and that's how much I think about him in the ring. I think he's amazing, and his character's so good. I'd say give Logan Paul the win, because that's another guy who's going to be a future world champion. If Logan sticks at this and signs a long-term contract, Logan Paul will be a Hall of Famer, and he'll be a multiple-time world champion. I guarantee it.
See it.
Yeah, I really do. Like I said, he might not be great in real life. However, in wrestling, and that's what we're talking about, he's one of the best in the world right now. And I'd never thought I'd say that like 5 years ago. Logan Paul is one of the best wrestlers in the world. But I think you'd struggle to find people who disagree now, because everyone always goes, oh, I hate Logan Paul, but he's really good in wrestling, and I hate that I like him. Everyone says that. No one can take away that he's actually really good. And I think we hate that he's good at it, because he's an outsider who's come into wrestling, and he's actually better than a lot of the wrestlers who have done this for a long time. So, yeah, I can see why he annoys a lot of people, but yeah, he'd be my number 2. And I'm happy he's getting this match. I'm happy he's getting the match with Cena.
Okay. I'm sold. I think you're right. The guy is just like, he is a future Hall of Famer. He has everything you could possibly want. And he's putting the work in. And I have heard as well from some very reliable sources that he's very well liked backstage, that he's always asking questions and learning and respecting the process, the tradition. He is a professional. I will say. Yeah. And I'm glad you made the delineation between the person and I think he's grown up a lot too. I am not
since becoming a dad.
Yeah. I'm not excusing any of the bad things he's done, because he's done a lot of them. But name me like one wrestler who is, an angel, right? Like a lot of these guys are some of the worst people you can possibly think of outside of the ring, but the minute they're in there, you don't care. And that's wrestling.
I mean, if we couldn't mention wrestlers who had done bad things, I don't think we could have mentioned anyone tonight on the podcast.
Nope.
I couldn't mention Shawn Michaels or Ric Flair or The Undertaker, you know what I mean? So, and there's in wrestling terms, Logan Paul's actually probably one of the better people when it comes to doing bad things. Logan's things were just more publicized worldwide. So yeah, I do like Logan Paul. I'm glad he's getting this match, and I think that he's had one of the funniest lines all year when Jelly Roll came in, and he came in and goes, "I am sick to death of these outsiders coming into WWE."
Genius.
That's genius.
Yeah, that was I lost it when he said that. He knows exactly what buttons to push, and it reminds me of Dom in some ways. I think it comes more natural for Dom, but Logan, he knows exactly what he's doing, and again, that's what it's all about, man. Good choice. Good choices, I should say. I'm gonna have to agree with you on Bron Breakker being number 1 though. Okay, before I let you go, man, because it is going on hour 20, one of our longest episodes yet. I love it. I knew this was gonna happen. I knew this was
Same.
going to happen. I can't even imagine if Jamie and Andrew were here. We'd be
Oh,
talking for
2 hours, 3 hours at least.
Absolutely. We got to talk about this exciting new project that you have
Sure.
developed, created, is going to be rolling out in the next month or so. We are going
Yeah.
back to UFOs, and this is something called Strange Skies. So break this down for us. Let us know what it is, what we can expect, and yeah, just give us the sales
Okay.
pitch, as it
I'll
were.
give you the elevator pitch. So
Let's
if
do
you're
it.
interested in UFOs, UAPs, or even if you're a massive skeptic and you like to debunk things, Strange Skies is going to be your favorite place. I know that there's a lot of people who enjoy debunking things too. And this is a way for them to go on and have that discussion with people and say, hey, it might be this, it might be that. But the good thing about Strange Skies is it will cross-reference when you submit a sighting. It will cross-reference with the ISS, astronomical data, flight paths, comets that were in the sky at the time. Any data we can pull in, we will from the time of that sighting, and it'll make an evidence pack. It's what I'm calling the evidence pack. So on the screen, it'll show you all the sightings or comets that it could have been with a chance, like a probability of it being this. And it just gives you all the raw data so you can decide what it is. And at the bottom, you can comment and say, hey, might be this, might be that. And you can have that discussion with people as well. We're never going to tell you, hey, it was definitely the ISS. We don't know. We're just going to pull in that data and say, here's some things it could have been. But a lot of these UAP apps will, I think that they're either biased one way or the other. They'll either try and debunk everything, or they will try and say it's definitely UFOs because that gets more people to come in. I want to just give the users the raw data that I can give them and let the community decide what it is. It's not up to me to say what it is. But the exciting part about it is I have just been doing a few tests today, and I put in a sighting from a couple of months ago where I knew definitely where the ISS was, if there was a meteor shower, for example, and a couple of the flights going overhead, and it pulled into the evidence pack all of those things accurately. So it's all working now. It's bringing in all of that information from the date of the sighting, not the time that you submitted the sighting, from the actual date that you put in when it happened. The further back you go, it could be like, I don't know, 20 years back, the less data we'll be able to bring in. But we will still be able to bring in even the ISS. We can go back 20 years for that because we can always track back where it was. But stuff like flight paths, for example, we can't go 20 years back for that, but we can up to maybe a month or two. So this is just going to be a really good tool to say, like, I saw something and I know the date. Oh, here's all the information that comes with where I was and the date that it happened. It could have been that, could have been that. And if it's none of those things, you can probably say that it was anomalous. And if it's anomalous, yeah, that's a good discussion to have with people who want to come on and try and debunk it, because that's what we should be doing. And that's my skeptic brain is, if someone shows me a video, I'm going to try and debunk it. I want to try and debunk it, because if I can't, and the internet can't debunk it, then that means that could really be anomalous and could be a real UAP, could be NHI. We need to get to that point where we're getting rid of all this crap that is currently online. There's so much of it with AI, people posting intentionally fake videos, people posting irrigation circles. I'm not going to name anybody, but let's debunk it. And whatever we're left with at the end will be credible and good evidence that we can say, this is the best evidence we have. What is it? That's what I'm after doing. And all I'm asking is for people to give it a go. Go to strangeskies.app, sign up to our beta. If you've got some sightings, you know the dates, put them on there, and let's see what evidence we get as a community.
That's awesome, man. And, I'm going to be doing a write-up about Strange Skies over on my Medium, where we can go more in depth with you about how it works, the process, what people can expect. But hey, you had me at Strange Skies, obviously.
I appreciate your support so much, Ryan. It really means a lot that you're a supporter of this. And I've already had quite a few signups, and I'll be honest, I think a lot of them have come from your way, from your traffic. So that means a lot to me. But I'm also a big believer in building in public. And I'm not sure if that's a term you're familiar with, but when you're making an app or a website, I like to build in public so everyone can see what I'm doing. Fully transparent. I'll tell you how it works. I always post updates on the Strange Skies in Twitter, or X it is now. And I'll tell you exactly what I'm doing and how each feature works and what you can and can't do, constantly sharing screenshots of what it'll look like, because I want people to know I'm not getting anything out of this. This isn't for my own benefit. I'm building something that people can use, and I'm willing to build it with full transparency because I want this to be useful, and I want people to use it. I want them to see something in the sky and go, that's going on Strange Skies, and get it logged, because each case gets its own case number, which I think is a cool little detail. So you can share your case number with people and they'll be able to search for it and see your sighting as well.
Awesome.
If I'm honest with you, I think this is only 10% of what it's going to be. The features that are on it now are just for the MVP. There's going to be so much more over the next year. But what I'm releasing with is starting with the evidence and starting with all the data that I can provide for the users. There will be so much more down the line, but I hope that it's enough for people to be interested.
I love that, man. That is so exciting. And here's the funny thing, whenever someone's like, what's the biggest problem with like UFO sightings now? And I tell people, we're not having enough of them reported because people aren't looking up into the skies. They're stuck on their damn phones. This is the one time where I could say, be stuck on your phone, look up in the sky, and now you can do both, and they're connected. This is the perfect opportunity.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be other features where it's like, if you could see something in the sky, in open Strange Skies, and it will tell you if the ISS is going over at that time, or if there's a flight going over you at the time. You might not even have to make the submission for the sighting, because it might be like, oh, I'm on Strange Skies. Oh, that is the ISS, or that is a comet, or that is a plane. So I want to help people understand what they're seeing in the skies, because whatever does get submitted could end up being anomalous, and that's what I'm interested in.
Man, you could be the key to disclosure.
Can you imagine, Ryan?
The pressure. You're like Baron Corbin last match.
I was going to say, what a disappointing end to disclosure after we've got Anna Paulina Luna, Lou Elizondo, Dave Grosh, Michael Herrera. It was me, Callum, from Greatfield in Hull.
The greatest heroes, man, come from the most obscure of places. Let's be honest. Tatooine of all places.
Yes.
Oh my God, man. This has been an absolute blast. Getting to know you more. I love
speaking with you, Ryan. It is a blast.
It's been a pleasure. We'd love to have you back, get Jamie on, and tell us one more time. We'll put links to Strange Skies and where people can sign up below, but also tell us where we can find more about Ringsiders Wrestling.
Okay, so on X, it's Ringsiders_. On Instagram, Ringsiders Wrestling. That's all we really use. We don't really use anything else. But you can find us on YouTube at Ringsiders Wrestling, and iTunes when I can be bothered to upload to iTunes. I think the last episode I uploaded was about 2 years ago, but there is a good backlog of episodes on there as well, and on Spotify. You'll find us, type it into Google, type it into YouTube. You'll find Ringsiders Wrestling somewhere. Not Ringside News. That does happen. If you type in Ringsiders, it says, did you mean Ringside News? We definitely didn't mean that, because Ringside News is toxic and it's a cancer and no one likes it. So no, not Ringside News.
That's fair. Yes, let's make that very apparent. That's so funny. There's another Ryan Sprague that I get mistaken for. I get emails all the time and business offers. And come to find out, the guy's like the biggest cannabis distributor like in North America. And I'm like, no, that is definitely not me. I wish it was. I wish I was making that kind of money, but
like Breaking Bad.
Yeah, exactly. So wrong Ryan Sprague, for sure. But that's funny, man. Yes, Ringsiders Wrestling. Let's make that very clear, guys. Awesome, buddy. Okay. Well, to close the show out, I'm putting the pressure on you one more time. We like to ring the bell to get us out of the ring. Whatever that means to you. I could put something in post-production as well, but I'm leaving this up to you to come up with how you want to metaphorically ring the bell and get us out of this episode.
What does he do in Rocky? When they're about to spar, he goes, ding, ding.
All right. Ding, ding.
There we go. That'll do. Put it in post.
Done. Oh my God, that was perfect. I think you're only the second person in 80 episodes who's made a Rocky reference, so I'm excited.
Amazing.
I'm excited.
Somewhere in the Ring is part of the Somewhere podcast universe. Please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. To learn more about all of our shows, visit thespu.com.